So, lads, as we all know, LeBron James has just made his 10th NBA Finals. Firmly cementing himself as, well, I would assume since about 2014, he's been in that conversation for the top 3 players of all time. You can definitely make the argument that he is number 1. I would definitely argue that because, in my opinion, the fact that he's made 10 finals and in terms of longevity, for me, that's more important than the 6 of 6 for Michael Jordan. But at the end of the day, it is all just opinions. If you value the 6 of 6 more than making 10 of them, that is completely fine. It is all opinion based. But in my opinion, the fact he's made 10 NBA Finals, the fact that his first NBA Finals was when I was 10 years old. I am now about to turn 24, and he will still have made the Finals. He has made the Finals for literally 9 straight years, apart from the one he was injured. It was crazy. But this isn't a LeBron video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about LeBron James and the prospect of the Los Angeles Lakers facing the Miami Heat if the Miami Heat do win tonight. I will talk a little more in depth about the matchups if they do happen to win, but I think it's a little bit relevant because LeBron James has just made the Finals. I'm saying this right now. I think if the Boston Celtics somehow pull off the 3-1 against the Miami Heat, I think the Celtics lose to the Lakers in 5 and LeBron James wins Finals MVP. That is my entire premise with that. And also, lads, what I'm going to be talking about in this video is I don't think LeBron James as an individual is scared of Miami. Regardless of what I say, I will give my opinions later, obviously whatever the title says. But I do think that the prospect of LeBron James facing Miami will strike fear into the LeBron stans of the world. And it should strike fear into them because I have a feeling that his legacy in the eyes of experts is going to have a negative effect, especially if he does come up against Miami, because I still think they win. But I will talk about later on in the year why I think that these experts, I have to put air quotes in because they're just not. They're just people that try to get clicks online, but people buy into them. So I have to talk a little bit about that. But I do think why he ends up facing this Miami Heat team, why it will end up being a net negative for LeBron James over the course of his career. So looking at this Miami Heat team, is there a superstar in the team? No, there's not. Jimmy Butler is not a superstar. Jimmy Butler is a very, very good all-star level NBA player. Is Bam Adebayo a superstar? No. Bam Adebayo is a fringe all-star level player. Tyler Hero's a rookie. Although, in the current format or current landscape of the bubble, being a rookie might actually be an advantage because he's only 2 years away from playing like AAU in small crowds. So he's going to be more comfortable than a lot of people. You've got Jay Crowder, great role player. You've got Duncan Robinson, a guy who can shoot the ball as well as anyone we've ever seen. But the fact that people are calling better than prime Kyle Korver already, again, people are just prisoners in a moment. But this Miami Heat team on paper is a 6 seed. But they have a chance of making the NBA Finals. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games. They swept the Indiana Pacers. This team is legit, and there's a big, big reason for why they're legit. And it is their zone. The zone defense that the Miami Heat plays, it is not unbeatable. It is by no means unbeatable. The Celtics have shown a few weaknesses in the zone, but against the Los Angeles Lakers, I don't necessarily think it's going to be enough to win Miami the series. I think it's going to be enough to win Miami a couple of games and to make this a series. But the thing is that the zone will be there, and they will put up a wall to stop LeBron James. They will, because they did it for Giannis. They took Giannis pretty much out of the series. There is no question about it that Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player on the Milwaukee Bucks. But in that series, even when Giannis was playing, Chris Middleton looked like the best player because the Miami Heat defense took Giannis out of his game, made Giannis play to his weaknesses. And that is what the defense is going to do to LeBron James. It's either going to make him play to his weaknesses, or it's going to make him do something that people don't want to see him do. If you guys remember, the last team to really, really zone up LeBron James in an NBA Finals was the Dallas Mavericks. I get it. You can argue he's not the same LeBron James now as he was in 2011. That is very true. He is a significantly higher IQ basketball player. He makes better plays. But we can't forget that a lot of the problems with 2011 although there definitely were certain situations where his confidence went. A lot of the problems with that were due to his like mindset towards basketball, and I think he still has that similar mindset of if he's not playing well, getting his teammates involved. People called it a choke then because he'd lost. I still don't think it was a good finals, but the Dallas Mavericks forced LeBron into being a passer, and it worked. The last team to really zone up LeBron James forced him into being a passer, and it was a meltdown from not just him, the entire team. But the funny thing is that if we look at LeBron James shooting, because one of the big arguments is that LeBron James is a significantly better three-point shooter now than he was in 2011. Game 4 and 5 against Portland, I'm not counting them. He shot 4 of 5 in one of them, and I think he shot 4 of 7 in the other game. I'm not counting basically pre game 5 stats or game 4 stats for LeBron James. He was 5 of 19 through 3 games in that series from 3. That is just over 25%. He shot 29% from 3 against Houston, shot 28% against Denver. So if the Miami Heat can force LeBron into becoming a jump shooter, he has not proven in this year's playoffs that he can do that at a significant rate. This is not 2013 LeBron James. It is not a LeBron where most of his three-point shots come off catch and shoots. A lot of his three-pointers do come off the dribble. And I have a feeling that Miami will be able to force LeBron into those shots and will live with the consequences. And that is something that Denver did not seem to be able to do. I get it, LeBron did settle for a few of them, but they were letting LeBron settle for his jab step, fadeaway mid-range shots, which he's one of the best players in the world at. If the Miami Heat can manage to make their zone in a way that they can get LeBron to settle for three-point shooting, I think that this could be a series. But again, I think LeBron's basketball IQ is much higher than it was back in the Dallas days, and I do think he ends up becoming more of a facilitator, and that's where the whole problem is going to be. The guy standing to the right of LeBron James is going, I can almost guarantee, if the Lakers face Miami, is going to be Finals MVP. The Miami Heat zone has a major weakness, and it is people that can shoot the ball from the free throw line. Once you get the ball to that high post, it's a huge weakness. If you guys watch the regular season game at the very start of the year, the Miami Heat had a big lead early on the Los Angeles Lakers, but as soon as LeBron James started feeding Anthony Davis in that high post, they ended up genuinely just getting to massive rhythm and beating the Miami Heat well in that game. And that is where the problem lies for the experts with LeBron. I can see it being a case of LeBron ending up in the series with something like 21, 11 rebounds, and 15 assists. I can see him legitimately ending with some sort of stat like that, because they will put up the wall. I think that the Miami Heat are going to make Anthony Davis beat them, because if they try to man up LeBron James, they can't. Jimmy Butler cannot man up LeBron James. Jay Crowder cannot man up LeBron James. As well as that, if they go into man, it means that they can't put Duncan Robinson on the floor, or they can't put Tyler Hero on the floor. One of the things about the Miami Heat zone is that they play their two least athletic players, their two least great perimeter defenders at the back of the zone. And their job is, at no stage is the job of Tyler Hero or Goran Dragic in this situation ever to stop the ball from going to the basket. They just run around looking for steals, making things awkward for their opponents, and just not letting them catch the ball in rhythm. And that is how they've managed to use that zone to allow them to play Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero at the same time. Tyler Hero, not a terrible on-ball defender, but Duncan Robinson is. It's also let them play Duncan Robinson and Goran Dragic at the same time, while also being a positive on defense. They literally have two of the weakest NBA perimeter defenders still in the playoffs on the floor at the same time, while still being the best defensive team in the NBA. And that is mainly down to that zone. However, so I can't see the Lakers going into man, or the Heat going into man, where LeBron will take them apart. I can see them hoping to God that Anthony Davis doesn't have a good series. I genuinely think that Anthony Davis will average something crazy, like 34, 15, and 5. And if you look at these stat lines, who is winning Finals MVP? It's Anthony Davis. It's going to be Anthony Davis. Another player that I think could be a difference in this series, and I don't mean could be the difference between he could be the difference between winning or losing, because I don't see Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee getting on the floor. And I could be wrong with this. You might say, you know what, let's put on Dwight Howard to bully Bam Adebayo. But why would, that completely neutralizes the Lakers offense. It's a series where Anthony Davis is going to have to play the 5. He is equally as lengthy as Bam Adebayo. So guys like Dwight, who have made a massive impact, especially in that last series against Denver, where he was the difference, you're not going to see an awful lot of Dwight Howard, I don't think, in this NBA Finals if they play Miami. If they play Boston, we're going to see Dwight Howard in an incredible, playing a big role, and I think being a great starter for a Finals team. I think in terms of matchups, he really struggles if they do play the Miami Heat. And how Miami are going to be a threat to the Lakers. The Lakers are very inconsistent shooting wise. Whether that's LeBron James, whether that's Danny Green, KCP and Markieff Morris have been shooting really well. Again, how they will shoot in the NBA Finals, it's hard to know, especially because it's finals in a bubble, so it's a little bit different. And if the Miami Heat have bad shooting games, the Heat could expose that. If the Lakers have bad shooting games, could the Los Angeles Lakers have 4 bad shooting games out of 7? Yes, they could. I don't think they will. But could the Los Angeles Lakers have 2 bad shooting games out of 7, and in 2 other games where they're shooting well, the Miami Heat just out shooting them because of their snipers? They could. I don't think it's a formality the Lakers win this series. I really don't. And the Heat will make adjustments. The way their zone is, and it's a big reason why I like the zone so much, is that they constantly show teams different looks. It is very rare you see same teams getting the same look 2-3 times in a row. It is very difficult to get rhythm against the Miami Heat zone, especially when you've got inconsistent shooting. If you're starting to miss a few shots, it's hard to get a rhythm. And when hot, the Heat are unguardable. They are absolutely unguardable. So while I believe that the Celtics are not a threat, a threat to beat Miami, I don't think the Celtics have any chance at the Lakers, but I think the Heat do. This is something I think we don't see this year. I don't think we see Finals MVP. And will LeBron be happy winning his 4th ring? He will. I'm pretty confident even not winning Finals MVP, LeBron James will be happy. I don't see it happening. I do not see it happening. Against Celtics, maybe. He probably will, actually. Against the Miami Heat, I don't see it happening. They will build a wall to stop LeBron James. And what will I think will happen? Lakers win in 6 or 7. If the Lakers sweep, I would be shocked. If Miami win, I wouldn't. I'd be more shocked if the Lakers sweep than if Miami win the series. I think the way Miami Heat play, it's a very difficult matchup for the Los Angeles Lakers. Miami will look to stop LeBron and make AD beat them. I think it happens. I think when it's all said and done, Miami will basically dare Anthony Davis to beat them, and I think Anthony Davis will beat them. And I think AD will very comfortably win Finals MVP. I think he averages 35 points per game, and I think the Heat let him average 35 points per game. There's only so much you can do when you've got a player as talented as LeBron. You're not going to be able to stop both him, Anthony Davis, and the shooters. And I think they're going to give up that shot with AD. I think they're going to be more likely to give up that shot. And I also think that the narrative around sports media is that LeBron was carried to a ring, despite clearly being the best player on the floor. LeBron James, again, Anthony Davis hit one massive shot after LeBron played a bad quarter, and people were saying he was already being carried. Imagine what will happen if he doesn't win Finals MVP, despite more than likely the defense completely collapsing on him. What I think the outcome of this is going to be, despite winning, and while being the best player in the world, it will somehow be turned into a negative by the community of, again, air quotes in fans, because I don't believe people that their entire livelihood is, not even livelihood, I'm not even talking about the Skip Bayless, he just does it for clicks. I'm talking about people on social media who all they want to do is call out LeBron for being carried for everything. I don't even believe that they're real fans. It will be turned into a negative. Winning will be turned into a negative by these people. So I think that's what's going to happen. I hope it's not. I hope to see LeBron James as Finals MVP. I hope that we see LeBron James winning his 4th Finals MVP out of 4 trips to the Finals. Because, again, I'm someone who's been trying to make the argument since 2016, maybe even before that LeBron James is the best player to ever pick up basketball. So it helps my argument. But at the same time, I'm not gonna say right now that I think LeBron's winning Finals MVP. Do I think LeBron's better than Anthony Davis? Yes. Do I think that the Heat will do whatever they can? Do I think the Heat know LeBron's better than Anthony Davis? Yes. Pat Riley, Eric Spoelstra, 2 of the smartest people in basketball. They know that if they let LeBron do what he wants, they lose this series. They know that. So they also know they can't stop both LeBron AD and without giving up wide open threes or wide open layups. I think it's going to be a case of the Heat daring AD to beat them, and this is going to be AD's coming out party. Is AD really that guy? I think he is. Is AD really a top 5 player in the world? I will put my money on it that he is. I will put my money on it that AD is a top 5 player in the world, that he is going to step up, and that the Miami Heat's likely tactic of stopping LeBron James is going to backfire. But that's what it's going to be. The Miami Heat will not let LeBron James beat them. They won't. With his history there, they will not let LeBron beat them. And I think regardless of the outcome of this series, people are going to be talking about it like he was either carried to a ring or that this ring doesn't mean enough because, I don't know, he only played the Miami Heat. It's a lose-lose scenario. However, when we look back on this in 10 years' time, no one will care. No one cares that the Golden State Warriors team in 2015 played against injured people. They did when it happened. They don't care anymore. This is going to be a scenario that people will bring up as a negative for about 2 years. Then people, again, once the dude retires, people will appreciate the greatness of LeBron James, who is at worst the 3rd greatest player to ever pick the ball. So anyway, yeah, that is the video. Just a little bit of a breakdown on what I think happens if LeBron James ends up facing the Miami Heat and the Miami Heat end up beating the Boston Celtics. And also what I think the kind of outcome of the entire thing will be in terms of how the media and experts will react. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.